Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Слава нації!
Смерть ворогам!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Україна!
Понад усе!
Захисникам України тричі! Слава! 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 So I'll switch to English as I promised, so that I alternate and use both languages. I was thinking about a new message. There are a lot of emotions. Over this weekend, I think this morning or yesterday, center of Kharkiv was bombed. Randomly, anti-aircraft rocket was used. Everyone knows it cannot be aimed in an air-to-surface fashion in a very precise way. It just lobbed into central Kharkiv in one of the universities. So every day brings senseless destruction and loss of life. And that's why we're here, and that's why we need support. That's why we need the help from the Ministry of Defense behind us, behind you, and the UK government behind me. And we are very grateful for the support so far, but it's a daily grind. We are at a very difficult, possibly the most difficult point of the war is approaching, is upon us. Russia is not giving up. Putin has staked everything on it, and he cannot back down. But we should force him to back down, whether himself or through the people of Russia. It's their way. It's up to them how they will do it. But our way is to beat them back from our territory. For that we need ammunition. For that we need weapons. For that we need fighter jets. We need F-16, as I said the previous weekend, Sunday. We need more than token gestures, and that's the moment that we are facing. We need numbers, and we need those numbers quickly on the ground yesterday. One other aspect that I've been thinking and reading about, which sort of caught my feelings, my emotions, is sports. Sports is somehow outside of politics. There is a Russian phrase that sport is not a political thing, and that's a profoundly wrong perception and completely false statement to make, because Russian athletes, the ones that won medals in the Olympic in Beijing, they were paraded and brought into the rally alongside Putin, chanting and shouting in support of him. When the war started in March, there was a huge rally in the stadium. Again, not by accident, full of Russian people and sportsmen. One of the figureheads, showing support and urging the Russians to go and kill Ukrainians as if it's something honorable. Now the Olympics are coming. It's not far from where we are. It's just across the channel in Paris, and the Olympic Committee somehow is oblivious to the war, to the genocide of Ukraine, which is going on, and they think that you can have the genocide and yet have the Nazi state represented on the Olympics, and that touches a very raw nerve for everyone from Ukraine. I think for Ukrainian athletes to be there alongside, competing in the same, 5 square meters, jumping alongside and performing there. And I really don't understand, because the idea of not tolerating athletes while the war is going on, from Russia, it sounds abhorrent to us, and sounds like a few other nations share our feelings. So we have two nations, Russia and Belarus, but Russia most prominently, and plenty of other nations that feel uncomfortable with them there, and yet the Olympic Committee cannot exclude the two, and is trampling upon the feelings of dozens of other countries that feel it's not exactly right. So I think we need to spread this message as well, is that insofar as there is a killing of Ukrainian going on, insofar as there is a war, in as far as the genocide is continuing, it's not the time for the Russian athletes, to be, presented at the global world stage. If there was a period of time they were not present and they're being brought back, it's not the time yet, and it's wrong morally. Personally, I applauded the Wimbledon last year, which excluded Russian tennis players. We all know that commercially it's great to have leading athletes, and Russians have several good players in the top 10 right now. So in Sydney, in Australia, they felt appropriate to have Russian athletes there. And again, I am personally very grateful to Wimbledon for making a call last year and not allowing that to happen, even though commercially that they were punished for it. So this is the type of gesture that we need right now, is to have a moral stance across the board and not to make pretense that those athletes, which for large portion of them are just part of the military sports clubs and units. That's how it is structured in Russia. They are military servicemen. They actually have military ranks. They get paid by the Ministry of Defense of Russia. So to pretend that they're somehow above and outside of this is not true. Is a lie. So that is important. Yes, some people somehow believe that this is this is harsh, but it isn't, because sport is part and parcel of propaganda machine. So this is my nuance of today. I think we need to spread the message that now sports, yes, and culture as well. This is not the best moment to showcase Russian things while the war is raging. There'll be a period of reassessment, and there'll be a time to take stock. But now is not yet the time to kind of it's not been a year since it started, and people are dying every day. Now is not the time to pretend that it's somehow over and we can move on, and we should be the ones spreading that message. But I'll finish where I started. That the battle is waged on multiple fronts, but primarily militarily. We need to to win at the battlefield. And for that to happen, we need continued and more support now. We cannot deal with a big military like Russia, with limited resources. We need to, frankly, expand the resources dramatically in order to, to have a wave, a tsunami, so to speak, that would, put this idea that will be vanquished, we the Ukrainians can be vanquished militarily completely. And then there will be a moment, yes, the moment will come when Russia is pushed back, when we'll somehow negotiate. But the moment is not now. We're still very far from it, and we need support. So arm Ukraine as you promised. 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 Arm Ukraine as you promised.
Arm Ukraine as you promised.
Arm Ukraine as you promised.
Arm Ukraine